John moved quietly through the dust and rock. The ground shook with the explosions in the distance. He held his rifle tight and checked the scanner on his wrist. The sky glowed with red and orange as the two alien armies fought. He had seen many battles, but this one felt different. As he turned a rocky ridge, he saw a group of alien warriors. Their armor was cracked and blood-stained. They looked like tall figures with green skin and long limbs. John froze when he saw one fall. She lay on the ground, her breathing shallow. Her helmet was cracked and sparks glowed from inside. Without thinking, John ran down the slope. Every step was tense as shells exploded around him. Dust covered his boots and stinged his eyes. He crouched beside the fallen warrior. She was large and strong, but her body trembled. John looked around. The enemy was closing in fast. He grabbed the alien warrior under her arms and lifted her weight. It was heavy, but he held firm. He heard a roar as another alien approached. John raised his rifle and fired. The shot hit the ground near the attacker, sending it back. Heart pounding, John carried her across the rocky field. He spotted a crater that offered some cover. He laid her down and checked her suit for damage. The suit had deep cuts and a small leak. He closed the valve with his bandage and sealed the crack with a piece of metal from his pack. Suddenly, a human soldier named Don sprinted over. Don wore the same uniform as John. He reached out. "John, we have orders to leave. We can't stay here." John shook his head. "I can't leave her. She is alive. She might be a warrior of the enemy, but she is alive." Don looked at the alien woman. Her faceplate glowed faintly. He saw her chest rise and fall. He turned back to John. "Orders are orders, but—" "I will help you. We need to get out of firing range." John nodded. Together they lifted the alien and moved toward a ridge. For better cover, they dropped behind a pile of rocks. Ella, the medic of their squad, ran up. She wore a red cross on her sleeve. Her calm face showed fear. She knelt beside the alien and placed her hand on the suit. She listened to the weak pulse through her scanner. "She is alive," Ella said softly. "But if we do not reach the colony soon, she will die." John looked at Ella's face. He saw hope and worry there. He felt a sharp pain in his chest. He could not leave the battlefield until she was safe. Ella took a small injector from her bag. She pressed it into the suit and closed her eyes. The suit hissed and the leak stopped. She adjusted the oxygen flow. Zara, the alien, moaned and moved her arm. John smiled. He felt relief spread through him. He looked around. The two sides still fought fiercely. Shells flew across the sky like angry fireflies. He knew they were not safe yet. He whispered, "We move on my mark." Don and Ella nodded. John took a deep breath and stood. He lifted the alien warrior, Zara, and held her close. The world around them shook with thunderous noise. As John led the way toward the human rescue point, he thought about what he had done. He had chosen to save a life, even if that life belonged to his enemy. He did not know what reward waited at the end of this choice, but he felt steady and sure in his heart. And so, with heavy steps and bold hope, John began the journey that would change both their fates. John carried Zara through the rocky ground toward the hidden safe zone. The sound of distant blasts shook the air. Every step felt heavy, but he did not stop. He was determined to save her. Ella stayed close behind, her med kit in hand. She checked Zara's vital signs often. Sometimes she paused to adjust the oxygen flow or to clean a fresh wound. Don glanced at the sky, scanning for any sign of enemy patrols. Together they formed a tight circle around the injured warrior. After some time, they reached a narrow canyon. Its walls rose like silent sentinels. John paused at the entrance and signaled the others. He moved first, leading them into the cool shade of the rocks. The war felt distant here, muted by the stones. Ella found a small alcove and laid Zara down gently. She opened the helmet port and cleared sweat and dust from Zara's face. The alien woman had sharp cheekbones and pale green skin. Her long dark hair was tangled with grit. Zara's eyes fluttered open, revealing deep gold irises. John knelt beside them. He took a soft voice. "Zara, can you hear me?" Zara's lips moved slowly. She spoke in her own tongue. Ella's wrist scanner chirped and translated. Thank you. You saved my life. John felt relief. Ella smiled. We will help you heal, but you must tell us why you fight. Zara nodded, her chest rising with effort. She looked at John, then at Don and Ella. With a soft voice, Zara began her story. She came from the clan of Orinth, a proud people who lived on the planet Orinther. They were warriors sworn to protect their world. A rival clan, the Chakar, had turned against them. The Chakar believed the Orinth had grown weak and deserved to be destroyed. 1 year ago, the Chakar attacked without warning. They hunted the Orinth across deserts and jungles. Zara had fought many battles, but she had never seen such cruelty. Her entire squad had fallen. She had carried the wounded and led survivors to safety. Now she carried a secret device that could end the war. John listened intently. He pressed his hand to his rifle, ready for any danger. Don and Ella exchanged looks. Zara's story stirred caution in their hearts. Helping an alien was one thing, but aiding her beyond their orders risked trouble. Ella asked softly, "What is the device?" Zara touched the small metal cylinder at her belt. She took a breath and said, "This device can disable the Chakar fleet's shields. If I can deliver it to my leaders, they can strike and end the war." John's eyes widened. He looked at Zara, then at his comrades. He saw hope in Zara's eyes. He felt a spark of purpose. He said, "We will help you, but we must be careful. If anyone finds us, they will stop at nothing." Zara nodded, her face firm. Don spoke then, his voice low. "Orders say we must return to base. They will not care about your war. We must decide soon." John looked at Dan. He felt torn between duty and compassion. Ella closed her eyes for a moment. Then she said, "We cannot leave her here. She's saved by John. Now it is our duty to protect her. We can find a way to deliver the device." Don sighed. Zara watched them, her gold eyes calm. She whispered, "I trust you. If you help me, my people will owe you a debt." John nodded. He felt a bond form between them. With effort, they lifted Zara again. They moved out of the canyon and toward the human rescue point. The journey was slow. Zara's wounds needed rest. Ella treated each cut with careful hands. John kept watch. As they walked, Dan asked, "How far to your world?" Zara closed her eyes. "The nearest portal is on Orinther, but it is sealed. Only one person can open it. I am that person." John frowned. "Then how will we get you home?" Zara looked at him. She said, "We have an ally on Hudson Station. He will help us. His name is Ryan. He owes my family a favor." John did not know this Ryan, but he trusted Zara's words. After hours of travel, they reached a hidden human outpost. It was a small metal hut built into a rocky hill. The door opened with a hiss. A soldier inside raised his rifle. John stepped forward. He held up his hand. "This is Private John and Medic Ella. We have a wounded alien warrior. We need help." The guard lowered his rifle. He backed away and motioned them inside. Inside, the outpost was dimly lit. Monitors showed star maps and troop movements. A man with close-cropped blonde hair and kind eyes stood by a table. He looked at Zara and smiled. "Zara," he said softly, "I thought I would never see you again." Zara's face brightened. She whispered, "Ryan." She tried to sit up, but Ella helped her. Ryan moved quickly. He signaled the guard to bring medical supplies. He knelt beside Zara and examined her wounds. John and Don watched as Ryan worked with skill and familiarity. He treated Zara with gentle hands. When Ryan finished, he stood and looked at John. "Thank you for bringing her to me. We can save her here. This outpost is secure. But we must move fast. The Chakar have spies, even this far from Orinther." John nodded. He said, "We want to help deliver the device. Can you open the portal?" Ryan's face grew serious. "The portal requires a key sequence and my activation code. I can do it, but we need time and cover." Don looked around. "How much time?" Ryan checked a pocket watch. "About 12 hours. After that, the portal resets and we must wait another day?" Ella spoke softly. "We can stay here. Our orders are delayed due to the battle. We have some time. John placed a hand on Zara's shoulder. She closed her eyes, grateful. Outside, the war still raged. Shells lit the sky, but inside the outpost, a plan formed. John, Dan, Ella, and Ryan would stand guard. Zara would heal and prepare the device. Soon, they would open the portal and begin the journey home. John looked at each of them. He felt hope stir in his chest. He thought of the battles he fought before, times when life felt empty. Now he had a purpose bigger than orders. He would protect Zara, deliver her device, and change the fates of two worlds. And so, in simple courage and quiet trust, the unlikely allies prepared for the next step of their dangerous journey. Part 1 ended with a plan to open the portal on Hudson Station. Part 3 begins as the team prepares for the next steps. John stood guard at the entrance of the outpost. He watched the sky, ready for any threat. The sound of engines in the distance made him tense. He adjusted his rifle and checked the ammo. Don patrolled beside him. His eyes scanned the horizon. He trusted John's leadership but worried about the coming battle. He spoke softly. "Do you think the tracker will find us here?" John shook his head. "Ryan's outpost is hidden. It should be safe for now. But we cannot be careless," Don nodded. He looked at the star map on his wrist. The portal location was marked by glowing blue lines. He traced the path with his finger. "We open the portal at midnight, right?" John agreed. "That gives us time to heal Zara and ready the device. Elle and Ryan will handle that. We must stay alert." Inside the medical bay, Ella worked on Zara's wounds. The alien warrior lay on a cot, breathing steadily. Her pale green skin was marked. With bandages, she opened her eyes when Ella applied salve. "How are you?" Zara asked in broken Common. Ella smiled. "You are healing well. Soon you can stand." Zara tried to sit up, but Ella placed a hand on her shoulder. "Take rest. The journey is not over. We need your strength." Zara nodded. She closed her eyes. Her mind drifted to her homeland. She saw burning deserts and fallen friends. She touched the device at her belt. It glowed faintly, as if sensing her. Ryan entered quietly. He held a small box with the portal key components. He set it on the table. "Zara, I have the activation code ready. When you are strong enough, we will set it in the portal chamber." Zara's eyes brightened. She whispered, "Thank you, friend." Ryan nodded and left. Zara lay back, gathering her strength. Ella watched her and then left to check supplies. Outside, the ground shook with distant blasts. John and Don heard the roar and looked at each other. Don spoke quietly. "They grow bolder." John tightened his grip on his rifle. "I will send a runner to alert the nearest human base if they get too close." Don hesitated, then he nodded. "I will go." John checked his cum. "Make it quick. We must not leave the outpost empty." Don sprinted toward the messenger station. John returned to his post. Hours passed slowly. The sun set behind the rocky hills. Shadows grew long. The team gathered for a final briefing. Ryan spoke first. "The portal chamber is ready. We must open at midnight. The device Zara carries must be placed in the input slot." Ella added, "Zara can stand now, but she will need help. We will move her on a stretcher to the chamber." John looked at his team. "Don is on watch for any threats. Ryan and Ella will open the portal. I will stand guard." "We have one chance, no mistakes," Zara nodded. Her gold eyes held determination. She placed her hand on John's arm. "I trust you. Thank you for your courage." John felt a surge of pride. He nodded back. As midnight approached, they moved toward the hidden portal chamber. It was carved into the rock with strange alien symbols glowing faint blue. The air inside felt cold and still. Ryan set up the portal key box on a stone pedestal. He entered the activation code on a small console. Lights blinked green, and then bright blue energy filled the chamber. Ella and John helped Zara onto the stretcher. Don stood at the entrance, rifle ready. Together they carried her toward the pedestal. Zara reached into her suit pocket and held the device. It was a small cylinder with glowing lines. She extended it toward the slot in the pedestal. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the chamber. The entrance cracked as the Chacker forces broke through the door. Don shouted a warning. He raised his rifle and fired. The blue energy flickered. Ryan yelled, "Hold them off!" "I must finish the activation." John moved beside the pedestal. He knelt and guided Zara's hand. "Now, Zara, place it." Zara's breathing was heavy, but she slid the device into the slot. The cylinder fit perfectly. The energy around it pulsed bright. The portal hummed and a swirling blue field appeared beyond the pedestal. Ryan hit the final key. A blast of light shot from the pedestal and knocked the Chacker soldiers back. The swirling portal grew stable. Don reloaded his rifle and covered the entrance. John stood beside Ryan. Together they held off the enemy as the portal opened. Zara sat up, her strength returning. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "We did it." Ella ran to her side and helped her stand. Zara stepped toward the portal. She turned to John and whispered, "This is where we part. Thank you, friend." John nodded, his voice catching. "Be safe, Zara. I will never forget you." Zara saluted him, then stepped into the portal. Her last glimpse was of John, raised in farewell. John watched the portal close behind her. The chamber grew quiet. Ryan let out a sigh and collapsed to his knees. Ella knelt beside him. She said softly, "She made it." Don checked the entrance. The Chacker forces had retreated, shaken by the portal blast. John raised his rifle and surveyed the room. He felt a mix of pride and sadness. Zara had returned home, and the device would end the war. But she was gone from their world. Ryan looked up and smiled weakly. "Thank you all. My clan will remember this day." John nodded. "We did what was right. It was an honor." Outside, the sun began to rise. The sky glowed pink and gold. John felt hope. He thought of the two worlds he had bridged with his actions, and so, with the portal behind them and a new dawn ahead, John and his team walked out of the chamber. They carried memories of bravery, friendship, and a reward that none expected. John returned to Hudson Station under a gray sky. The cargo ship docked at the station's loading bay. He stepped off with Dan and Ella. The platform was busy with workers and soldiers. Crates moved on rails. Ships loaded cargo for distant worlds. Don spoke softly as they walked. "Do you think anyone will notice what we did?" John shook his head. "They will see only the report. Our superiors care about orders, not lives saved." Ella sighed. "We did the right thing, John. Zara lives now." John did not answer. He felt uneasy. They reached the command center. A tall glass building stood at the heart of Hudson Station. Inside, rows of consoles glowed with data. Officers in dark uniforms moved between stations. John led his team to the debriefing room. The door slid open. Captain Hayes waited behind a long table. His face was stern but tired. He tapped a datapad. "Private John and team report." John read from his notes. He spoke of how he found the alien warrior under fire, how he and his squad carried her to safety, how Ryan opened the portal, and how Zara returned home with the device. He told of the Chacker attack and the portal blast. Captain Hayes listened in silence. When John finished, the captain looked at Ella and Dan. He asked each for their statements. All agreed with John's account. The room felt cold and formal. Captain Hayes sighed. He said, "Your actions were outside protocol. You risked your lives and the station security." John felt his heart sink. He expected praise, but he saw only concern. Captain Hayes continued, "Orders require strict engagement rules. You disobeyed direct orders by aiding an alien. We must review this." Dan and Ella exchanged worried glances. John stood firm. He said, "We saved a life. Her device stopped a war. We did good." Captain Hayes looked at him. "War is complex. We follow rules. I will send your report to headquarters. They will decide if there are consequences." The team left the debriefing room. Outside, the air felt heavier. Don said, "They might court-martial us." John twisted his helmet in his hands. "I don't care about that now. I care about Zara." Ella placed a hand on his arm. "She is safe. That matters more." John nodded but did not smile. Over the next days, John returned to his regular duties. He trained with other soldiers. He patrolled the station perimeter. Each time he looked at the stars, he remembered Zara's gold eyes and the portal's glow. Ella worked in the medical bay. She treated wounded colonists and soldiers. She spoke kindly to each. She asked John about his thoughts. He replied simply, "I think about her." Ella nodded. "She will never forget you." Don watched supply ships land and depart. He loaded crates and spoke with dock workers. He felt restless. He missed the purpose of helping Zara Dawes as station hummed with routine. An urgent message arrived for John. A uniformed officer handed him a sealed data packet with the alien symbol of Orinth. The officer said, "This arrived for you. You have clearance to open it." John's hands shook. He broke the seal and tapped the packet. Words appeared in common tongue. To Private John, hero of Orinth. On behalf of the Orinth people, I invite you to a ceremony of thanks at the Hall of Unity. Attend promptly. Zara sends her personal gratitude. John's heart jumped. A ceremony? Orinth? He looked at Dan and Ella. They smiled. Don said, "This is the reward nobody expected." Ella nodded. "They honor you." John swallowed. He looked back at the station's gray towers. He felt a spark of hope. The day of the ceremony arrived. John wore his best uniform. It was clean and pressed, though worn from service. He entered the Hall of Unity. It was a large dome with high arched ceilings. Banners with alien symbols hung from above. Soft lights glowed on marble floors. Zara stood at the end of the hall, beside a tall alien elder. Both wore flowing robes in shades of green and gold. Zara's wounds were gone. Her skin shone like polished jade. John stepped forward. The elder spoke in Orinth's tongue, then Zara's translator tool rendered it in common. "John of Earth, you saved our warrior and brought peace to our war. We honor you with the title Defender of Unity. Accept this and know that you are forever our ally." Zara stepped forward with a small metal pin set with a glowing gem. She placed it on John's chest. The gem glowed softly, matching the color of her eyes. John felt weight and warmth at his heart. The Orinth people cheered in soft song. "Humans." In the crowd clapped. Don and Ella stood at his side, proud smiles on their faces. John looked at Zara. She bowed her head. She said, "Your courage gave my people hope. I charge this pin with my people's gratitude. May it serve you well." John's voice trembled. "Thank you, Zara. I am honored beyond words." He touched the pin gently. The ceremony ended. The hall emptied slowly. John, Don, and Ella walked out together under night stars. John pressed the pin against his chest and felt its glow. Don laughed softly. "You have a friend in another world." Now, John smiled. He looked up at the sky. He whispered, "And I have a reward nobody expected." Under the vast stars, John felt a new purpose. He knew his life had changed forever, bonded by courage, friendship, and a reward from the stars. John walked through the busy docks of Hudson Station. He still wore the glowing gem pin from Zara. Many stared, but some nodded with respect. He felt proud and uneasy. He had a new duty as Defender of Unity. Dan joined him by a supply crate. He tapped the pin on John's chest. "You wear that well." "It suits you," John smiled. "It reminds me of our friends on Orinth." Don nodded. "They saved many lives when the device worked. I heard the border fleet stopped fighting." Essa, a station engineer, greeted John and Dan. She held a small box and showed them its contents. Inside was a miniature shield generator made from Orinth technology. "This is from the Orinth people," she said. "They sent it as thanks. They want to share their tech." John examined the device. It was light and compact. "Can we install it here?" "On Hudson?" he asked. Essa nodded. "We can fit it on the outer hull. It will shield the station from debris and attacks." John felt hope. He and Dan carried the box to the engineering bay. Engineers and soldiers gathered. Together they worked to install the shield generator on Hudson's hull. Sparks flew as they welded the support frame. Wires ran along the station spine. After hours of work, the generator activated. A blue field pulsed around the station. It glowed softly in the dark of space. Everyone cheered. John raised his fist. He thought of Zara and the Orinth people. Suddenly, alarm sounded. Radars showed a swarm of meteor fragments heading toward the station. The field flickered under their impact. John ran to the control room. Engineers and officers scrambled. John spoke to Essa. "Increase power to the shield. We must hold it." Essa typed commands and the generator hummed louder. The blue field flared and the meteors broke apart on contact. Don and Ella watched from the bay viewport. She said, "Your friends gave us more." "In gratitude, they gave us protection?" Don nodded. "And they gave John a purpose beyond his orders." John returned to his team in the control room. He felt tired but proud. The shield held. The station was safe. He thought of the battles he had faced and the allies he had made. Days later, a message arrived from the Orinth Council. They invited human engineers to visit Orinther and learn more. John read the message aloud. He looked at his friends. "We have another journey ahead," Ella smiled. "Then we will go together." John closed his eyes and pictured Zara's face. He saw her smile and the glowing portal door. He felt excitement and hope. And so, with the Orinth honor pin on his chest and a new mission before him, John prepared to bridge two worlds once more. The gem on his chest glowed faintly, a reminder that courage and kindness could change the galaxy. John stood at the airlock of the transport ship bound for Orinther. He adjusted the Defender of Unity pin on his chest. Don and Ella stood beside him, their faces lit with quiet excitement. The ship's engines hummed softly as it prepared to launch. The journey through space felt calm. John watched stars drift by the window. He thought of Zara and her people. He wondered what Orinther would look like. Don placed a hand on his shoulder and smiled. Ella checked her gear and nodded. After days of travel, the ship entered the atmosphere of Orinther. Below them lay great green forests and wide blue rivers. Mountains rose like silent guards. The ship touched down near a grand city carved into stone. Zara waited on the landing platform. Her jade skin glowed in the soft light. John stepped out. He breathed the fresh air mixed with floral scents. Zara greeted him with a bow. "Welcome back," she said simply. John smiled and returned the bow. Don and Ella followed and bowed as well. A carriage of living wood awaited them. It opened gently and guided them toward the city. Along the road, Orinth children waved and laughed. Townspeople dressed in bright robes lined the path. John felt warmth and respect around him. They arrived at the Hall of Knowledge. Ancient columns rose high above them. Inside, a council of elders sat in a circle. Each elder wore robes indifferent. Shades of green. Zara introduced her friends. The lead elder spoke in Orinth's tongue, then in John's common. "John of Earth, you bring hope and unity. We share our knowledge and culture with you and your people." The elder gestured to a table filled with devices, crystals, and books. Ella and Dan looked with wonder. Ella touched a healing crystal that glowed soft green. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Don examined a navigation orb that projected star maps. In Mitter. John studied a sculpted model of a portal stabilizer. It looked similar to the device he once carried. The elder explained that this new design would help humans build safe portals. Zara led them to a garden of living light. Flowers glowed like stars among vines. Streams of clear water ran through stones. The group walked quietly, absorbing the peace. As night fell, the visitors shared a simple meal under glowing lanterns. They tasted sweet fruits and warm bread. Zara told stories of Orinther's history. John listened, feeling deep respect. A week passed quickly. Orinth engineers worked with human engineers. They exchanged ideas and laughter. John and Zara met each evening to talk by the lanterns. They spoke of battle, of hope, and of new dreams. On the final day, Zara presented John with a small crystal sphere. It pulsed with green light. She said, "This sphere holds a seed of our world. Plant it on Earth, and it will grow with care. May it remind you of our bond?" John held the sphere gently. He felt its warmth. He bowed to Zara. "Thank you, friend. I will cherish this gift." Zara smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. The return journey felt shorter. John, Don, and Ella carried the sphere and many designs for new portals. They discussed plans to plant the seed in a garden at Hudson Station. When they arrived back at the station, officers greeted them with respect. The sphere was placed in a greenhouse module. Under careful light, a small sprout emerged the next day. Its leaf was pale green, like Zara's skin. John stood beside the sprout and looked up at the stars. He felt the bond between worlds grow stronger. He knew their friendship would last beyond space and time. And so, with a living promise of unity between Earth and Oranther, John's journey ended. His courage and kindness had led to peace, friendship, and a reward that none expected.